This is Fred Barstein with 401k TV in Richmond, Virginia. We just completed a TPSU program at Randolph, Macon College, and I'm here with Suzanne. Welcome, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Okay, if we ask you a few questions.
Absolutely.
Great. Why don't you introduce yourself, a little bit about you and your company?
My name is Suzanne Tate. I'm the controller for the Supply Room Companies, headquartered actually just right here in Ashland, Virginia.
Great.
We have about 420 individuals covered under our 401k platform.
Great. So today we had a pretty robust discussion about fiduciary and fiduciary advisors and who's the different roles they can play and types. But I love the story about when your advisor is reviewing the funds, and tell us a little bit about that.
We did have quite a bit of conversation today about the differences between, a co-fiduciary and someone who is completely has a fiduciary responsibility. And as you were relaying the differences between the two, I was recalling a moment just recently that I had with our 401k advisor when we were having the conversation, and he was discussing a change he wanted to make to one of the funds that we had. And he said, "Do I have your permission to go ahead and change these funds?" And it was one of those moments where I was hearing music in the background, and I'm like, I think this is go time. This is when I'm getting ready to make a real decision. And it was obvious to me when you were describing the difference between those fiduciary responsibilities that I was then committing myself to that I had a great responsibility at that point.
So in that case, we surmise that they were a 321 fiduciary, the advisor, where they were making recommendations, but you were still making the decision. Correct. Versus a 338 where you delegate that responsibility, but your duty is to make sure that person or entity is qualified and they're doing their job. So after you heard all of that, what do you prefer? What sounds better to you?
So I won't lie, the responsibility of it is a little bit daunting. However, if I know the population that we're dealing with, yes, and our advisor isn't as well in tune to that, so I like being consulted about that. Right. So I think probably the 321 is
the
where we'll
321.
stay.
So you're involved in the decision, but you're relying on a prudent expert to do all the due diligence, all of that documentation,
and make the recommendations.
And make the recommendation and
provide the informed information.
Yeah. That's a wise decision. I think that there's the lesson is there's no bad decision. There just needs to be a process behind that on it. And the risk of going a little bit longer. What did you learn today about retirement committees?
That we need one. I think that it doesn't have to be formalized. It needs to be a document. It doesn't have to be difficult. We just need to make sure that we have all of those things documented to make sure that our fiduciary responsibility is being upheld.
Right. That there is a charter that authorizes you and you do it versus just doing it informally.
Just doing it formally.
You probably don't have to change much. You just want to make sure you...
Today I learned that our plan was well set up. Your presentation of what a well thought out plan looked like, the ideal plan, is very similar to how we're structured. Good. So I felt very good about that we had, definitely our plan basics were set up properly. It's just sort of taking it to that next level and making sure that we're doing all our due diligence and getting the fiduciary responsibility.
We know one of your takeaways is going to be that. Anything else that you want to try to do when you go back?
We have. I know that you've talked about loans. We have that set up on our plans. We do restrict ours to hardship loans, which is terrific. We like that a lot to give our people that flexibility. I think probably the committee and doing a little bit more research around what we might be able to present to our people in terms of helping them with their financial wellness education.
And then also in the spirit of documentation, making sure your advisor in writing actually says they are a co-fiduciary.
Absolutely. That was a takeaway today too.
Very good. Well, thanks for your time.
Sure.
And thank you for watching 401k TV, and look for a TPSU program coming near you.